G'day, legends, and welcome to the Thursday Sesh on Celtic Down Under. I'm your host, Jared, and joining me are Dan, Willie, and Jared. How you going, Dan?
Oh, just having a blast. It's a good time to be a Celtic fan.
How you going, Willie?
I'm going all right, apart from dropping my phone off a scaffold this week. Things have been warming up here in New Zealand. I've got the bit of the sun across my shoulders and my back, so summer's on its way.
And how you going, Jared?
Oh, it was fine until I logged in and Dan was here. We've managed to avoid each other for the last several weeks, but here we are. Communist Dan.
So it is. You guys have missed each other. We know what's really
We're not
going
talking.
on.
We're not talking politics
Shut up, Dan.
tonight.
Shut up, Dan. No one mentioned anything except for you.
You
Yeah,
mentioned
not-
communism in the first minute.
What are you talking about? Keep it to the football. All right, so
This
Yeah.
is why we don't have Dan on.
just everyone, I want to give a plug to Justin over at RBL Talk podcast. I did a show with him on his YouTube channel this morning. A post-match review. Was his first one ever. So if you got a spare hour or so, check that out. It's good he come on and did a preview with us. So it's good to work together with other podcasts and support another Australian podcast doing what we do, showing the love to our team from afar. So if you can check that out. But other than that, I think we get into the main event of the podcast, which is Celtic 3,
Kuhn.
RB
Celtic.
Leipzig 1.
Shut the fuck up, Jared.
Guys, I'm going to say this. Pretty simple. Calm it down. All right, so we're here to talk about that. So it's pretty simple. The starting lineup was an interesting one because it was who was going to start. Was it going to be? You had Schmeichel in goals. You had Johnson, Carter-Vickers, Trusty, and Taylor. Engels, McGregor, and Hatade, and then up front was Kyogo, Kuhn, and Maeda. So I think the big talking points going into that lineup was Taylor sitting as fire and Hatade backing up and playing another 90 minutes after playing the full 90 on the weekend. So yeah, it's overall it was a pretty interesting thing. Willie, when you saw that lineup, what was your thoughts heading into the game?
Yeah, for me, when I seen, I wasn't surprised to see Trusty's name in there. I think Trusty and CCV seem to be linking up pretty well together, and they're forming a pretty good partnership there. But for me, the big shock was Taylor's name to be an inclusion. Valle hasn't really put a foot wrong since he made the first team slot his own. But yeah, you kind of look at the way RB Leipzig play. It kind of suited more to have Taylor in the team than Valle because the RB team played a very narrow 4-2-2-2, and it really did suit to have Taylor in there. Like so, yeah, no real. Like I would say, it was a shock to see him in there, but as the game sort of grew on, you could see why his inclusion was there.
And
Dan, what was your thoughts when you saw the starting lineup?
I was quite surprised. Not so much with Hatate, as you said, but it did sort of seem as if Varley had potentially earned that opportunity. But in hindsight, I thought Greg Taylor had a great game. Not that anyone had a poor game, but you can see the idea behind utilising him more for that sort of inversion and for that defensive work rate. We saw him coming across into the middle of the park regularly and screening the back two. And in terms of the centre halves, as you said, Scales has not really done anything wrong. But to see him step back, it's clear that Trusty was signed to be the partner, the left centre back for Cameron Carter-Vickers, and it's the natural evolution of the side.
Ideally, that's how you want it to be. The guys who are the starters we should be looking to replace with better, and they become the backup. So, Jared, what was your thoughts on that lineup? And then I'll let you roll into your overall thoughts on the first half.
Oh, all right. I don't have anything much different to the guys. looked at the last game against Aberdeen, and normally you're like, okay, well, that's the lineup, so we're going to have the same lineup. Valley was the only difference in that. So I was a little bit surprised, but I was like, oh, okay, whatever. Like, that's where we are at the moment. Flip a coin, you can put Taylor or Valley in, and we still beat the number 2 team in Germany. So, yeah, who cares? First half, I thought we played really well. I was actually quite surprised that we were dominating possession that much. But then I did hear the guy you spoke to from that podcast or whatever it is, he spoke to some other people, and he said that that's what we were to expect. They were going to come out in the first 20 minutes and feel us out. So it kind of went to their game plan, and then they scored a goal. We had a bit of a off 10 minutes once they started pressing. But even one of their players, the guy that was taking the corner, kind of with a headband, like he came out and said that he was actually impressed with us, and he felt like they were running a marathon. There was nothing they could do. They were running around with the ball. And so like we pretty much dictated, and this is just the first half. Like, but apart from that one goal that we got from a set piece, and I'm pretty sure everyone else in the chat and everyone here is going to have felt the same as me. Every time the ball went out for a corner after that, your butt clenched like every single time, and it felt like that was the only way they were going to score against us was set pieces or corners. And then what's that German guy's name that plays for us? I forget. Nicholas Kuhn. That first goal was phenomenal, and I can't believe our own commentary team apparently were saying, "Oh, was he crossing it or was he passing it?" That was a definite shot. You can even tell the way he kicked it and the way he was moving. That was a shot. It was phenomenal. I don't know if he expected it to be that perfect off the post or if he was just aiming for a general area of the net. But it was great. Then our pressing, like you could see, even our tempo picked up and our defending picked up after that. And it was our pressing that ended up getting us back the ball and scoring the second. Very lucky that Maida had a really good dummy on that cross from Taylor. So it managed to get through to Kuhn for the second goal. But yeah, I can't say anything better than how we played in that first half. I was so impressed.
I think for me, like the whole first half, it was an interesting one because yeah, as Justin said to me on the RBL Talk podcast and on our preview with him, that the first 20 minutes was going to be them feeling us out, right? And as you said, Jared, and it was more to see, okay, where can they attack and everything. And what I found was they were very narrow, as you said. So for us, it was going to be on the wing area. But he actually said to me on the preview pod that they'll look to score off set pieces and on the counter. That's the way they play. So the fact of it for us was we have the speed to go with them, and we were able to make them play in areas of the pitch they're not used to playing. They want to come through the middle of the park. And there's a comment here from Big Rab saying, why is having what has been the best left back in Scotland for the last 4 seasons now in the starting lineup a shock? That's not what I was saying, but like I don't think it was a shock, Big Rab. What I thought it was is that we've got different left backs for different things. The way we've been playing, when we sit off and we're being that bit more proactive and trying to hit on the counter ourselves, I was expecting to see Valle there. So just with the form he's been in and play, especially with them not playing wide, if we have Valle wide and then we have our other guys wide, we're laughing. So that's what I was thinking. That's why I was a little shocked to see Taylor. But when you saw Taylor on that team sheet, you knew we were going to go hard on the press. And to get out there and press the way we did, we made them uncomfortable. And yeah, I thought we did really well in that first half. Willie, what was your thoughts overall on the first half?
Yeah, it was a really, really good half of football. I mean, it was a right bright start. We were in their face early doors, and then after 20 minutes, RB came into the game and they pressed us. And they got a series of corners, and that Kevin Campbell threw in some pretty good deliveries, and they were well drilled on where to be and who the men were at the corners. Like And as Jared said, it was a bit fearful at times every time a corner went in because the deliveries was on point. But we went the goal down. CCV tried to get his head on the ball, and it just went the wrong way. So and it just landed at Baumgartner, and he just nodded in. He couldn't miss from there, like. But overall, like we weathered the storm. There was some sloppy passing in there. I think there was one point McGregor was just outside the box, tried to lay it off to outside our box, tried to lay it off to Engels, and it was just a short pass, and Engels was asleep to it. And at that point, I was starting to think, oh, this game could go south pretty quickly. But they regrouped, and after they had their 15-minute spell. After they had that 15-minute spell, we really started pressing them again, and we really started to get the ball and sort of dictate the way the play was going to go. And yeah, Kuhn comes in and scores an absolute worldie. I mean, that shot he got off there was just phenomenal. But the play overall, to get the ball quickly from back to front, the defender gets it out to Engels, who gives a little reverse flick on. It was a really good overall move, like, you know what I mean? And by the end of the half, you could see, like, when Celtic got the second goal, there was five of them out in that right back slot trying to press them and get the ball back. Leipzig just couldn't get their head up and get the ball out, and it was a joy to watch. Like,
Yeah, on that, Willie, as well, with that, before I come to you, Dan, off the back of this, but I thought that 10-minute lull that you're talking about after they scored, where they came into it and they were on top of things, there was a couple of players there that didn't really slow it down at all. It was like Kuhn was still trying, and I actually felt like him, Engels, and Johnson, that group of three in together, working together on that right-hand side for us, was what actually spun things around and got it moving. And then we were able to get back in. Kuhn gets that goal, the build-up play to that was amazing. The goal gets scored, and then we're off to the races and we're back in it. So, Dan, you got anything to add on that, or do you want to just wax lyrical about some more goals?
A little bit of both, really. No, for me, and it's sort of more holistic around the game than just the first half, but I thought even though we're seeing that Arnie Engels is a young player, there are rough edges. There is, he's not a polished product. This was one of his poorer games in the hoops, but he was still so heavily involved. His pressing was great. His support, his tracking back, he was particularly when we went out of possession, his transition into defence was great. He really supported Callum McGregor and Rio Hatate in that midfield three. So I thought, I think for 11 million quid, a lot of people were expecting this really polished, unbelievable player. But we've bought a player that is very, very good and has the potential to be, the next Matt O'Reilly or the next world-beating midfielder. And I thought, just in terms of the criticisms that he did call, well, criticism's a bit harsh, but there was a few people pointing out, in a game where most of the team were getting 8s, 9s, and 10s, he maybe got a 6 or a 7. And I thought that would, probably should be tempered a little bit by his work rate and the fact I think he still had he obviously had the assist for the first goal. I think it was the first goal, but he also his ability to create goal scoring opportunities. He gets on the ball. He's just such a confident young kid. Look, it was the Kuhn show, it was the Hatate show, but the more I see of Arnie Engels, the more I look forward to seeing what he becomes. He's a special player.
Anyone want to rebut that at all? Because
the Engels stuff.
yeah. Well, you're agreeing with Dan because I think I don't think he was the worst of I don't think he was like a 6 if everyone else was an 8 or a 9. I don't think that at all.
No.
No, and that's not what I was, that's not what I was saying. That's what I was saying that people, because everyone has to pick out someone to have some form of criticism. And Cameron Carter-Vickers was probably the guy that we could have put that on, but no one really wants to bag CCV because we know who he is and what he is. So I just thought there was the usual stuff that was reserved for Liam Scales or, Greg Taylor usually. There was a little bit of that I saw in terms of Arnie Engels, and I thought, I think his work rate and what he did contribute was better than what he's going to get credit for.
Fair enough.
You rebutted yourself. Well, I'll rebut a little bit. Like what people are saying, and this has been the last several weeks, I think, is people keep bagging on Arnie Engels, and I think it's because of the narrative that was driven as him being Matt O'Reilly's replacement. But when you look at the team, it seems like Hatate is more of the Matt O'Reilly's replacement, playing forward, getting into the box, whereas Engels seems to be playing more box to box. He's doing a really good job defensively. He's playing really well with McGregor. Like his passing is really good. He makes a few mistakes, and I think people focus on them more because he's not doing enough attacking wise, which he will get better. Matt O'Reilly never came and scored a bunch of goals in his first couple of years, but I think everyone's just kind of been a bit too hard on him because they want him to be scoring the goals and assists and stuff that Matt O'Reilly done. But I think he's done a really good job. He had two maybe bad games, and it was a little bit of a dip, but he's doing really well, and he's only going to get better.
Yeah, I have to agree on that. I don't think there was a couple of games early on, like his first two games he was good. Then he had a bit of, off the back of the Dortmund game, he struggled in that, and then he struggled for a game after that, and then he's gradually built it back up to the point now where he's one of the first names on our team sheet. And yeah, I just think it's a bit hard to say anyone in the team was under a 7, and that's even including Yang when he came on. So, yeah, green tinted specs and everything aren't on, they're normal. So it's a bit of an interesting one. So the first half goals, I'm going to give myself a pat on the back here. I did call Baumgartner scoring their goal. I said 2-1 on Monday's pod. It was 3-1, so I got that wrong, but got that one right. So that's always an interesting one. With that goal, Jared, you were saying like your butthole was clenching every time they got a corner. I thought as the 2 or 3 corners after that, yeah, we looked a little nervy, and then Kyogo adjusted where he was staying and was winning the ball at the front post consistently after that. So
You asked me about the first half.
I know. I'm just talking in generals now.
Right.
So I know in the first half we did make that tactical adjustment, and after that I didn't have that problem anymore. So back to their first goal. Carter Vickers unlucky. It was Johnny on the spot. Second goal. So our first one. Yeah, I said on this morning's pod that I don't care what goalkeeper was in the goals, they weren't keeping that out. That was absolute world class. And then some bloke in the comments there was saying, "Oh, yeah, would you swap Ange back to Celtic for Kuhn to go to Tottenham?" And I wouldn't even do that to Kuhn. He's being linked with which made no sense to some Tottenham fans off his head. But for me, I look at it and go, why would I want another manager and give up our right winger? That makes no sense. But beside the point, there's already talk going on down in England about Kuhn's being scouted to be the long-term replacement for Mo Salah at Liverpool. So why would he go to Tottenham? I don't know if you heard that, Jared. But yeah, it's bouncing around a bit.
I didn't hear I heard that there was rumours about people being interested down south, but I didn't hear specifics.
Yeah. So that's what I've heard on that anyway. So Kuhn's goal, first goal, amazing. Second one was just pure work rate. That's all it was. The press just absolutely confused him, and yeah, made his fresh air swing hilarious. And then yeah, so it was 2-0 at half time, amazing. Got some comments up, and then we'll get into the second half. So McLaughlin was saying here, AJ, Kelmack, Atade and Kuhn all 10s, the rest were 9s. Stunning win. This is for you, Dan. Robert Gibson. Yellow card, swear words within first 5 minutes. Robert also follows up saying that vulnerable at corners, I blame Palmer. Wanker. Didn't take long. Maestro95 is saying that Celtic moved the ball around really well and used the wide areas, stretched them so much. I think that is a fair summary of it. And then Maestro's followed up saying every player was in constant motion apart from the 10-minute spell when they scored. We got rattled. McLaughlin here is... Oh, okay, I'll do this. Well done, Jared, sticking up for our pressing game. Leipzig guy was putting it down to them being poor. So what happened on that pod, just so those who haven't checked it out, we spoke about the game, and then Justin said that, Celtic, well, basically he said we weren't that great. It wasn't our press. It was that they played poorly. He put it down more to them playing poorly. And I just said to him, you got to play what's on the pitch in front of you. And fact of the matter is that we pressed you that hard that we made you play in different areas of the pitch that you're not used to, that you played that poorly. So you can't be saying that you played poorly because there's a cause and effect here, and our press caused that, and the effect was you guys played poorly. I put him in his place on that front, and he actually snapped back straight away. I was like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. Hadn't thought of that. So got to do that occasionally. But, yeah, it's amazing. Some of the stuff here. McLaughlin. I was like one of our troops, Wallace inspired in Braveheart when Jared stuck up for us. And Robert Gibson, this one here. What's he up to? Kuhn's first goal had more bend on it than a serial wanker's knob end. So you're talking about Palmer's dick, aren't you, Robert? You know what's really going on. What do we got here? RL77 made his back heel flick during the press that led to that second goal. Dazen doing Dazen things, you got to love it. What do we got here? Smell the glove. What time do you start today? I thought it would be 9 a.m. Celtic Park time. We're 11 hours ahead now, so we normally go at 7:30 Melbourne time. So what's that? 8:30 over in Glasgow, if my maths is right. So yeah, that's what we do on the Thursdays, 8:30, and Mondays it would be 9 a.m. over there. So RL77. People criticising Engels know fuck all about football. And here you go, Maestro. This is for you, Jared. I know you want it. I'll let you read it out.
Kuhn has the X factor, real quality, tracks back to his pass to Maida that Maida missed. Engels always finds space, and his work rate is superb.
Anything that's Kuhn related, we're gonna have to get you to read out so you can just get a bit of love on there. Ian McIntosh is saying it's ridiculous judging Engels the price tag. He will be a top player. That was one thing the Leipzig podcaster said as well, like that he was shocked that Engels was our club record signing, but he's a good player. But yeah, I'm just scrolling through, see what else we've got here. Yeah, he's just been absolutely flying. What do we got here? Yeah, there's not really much to bring up there. So, yeah, I think overall, first half was a very solid game, half of football. And the question was, were we going to bring that out second half? And for me, that was where it became difficult for me to watch the rest of the game, because that's when I had to leave the house to get to work. So at that point, it was put it through the radio in the car, drive in, and just listen to the commentary. And Joe Hart on commentary, I like it. Give credit where it's due. Then watch the second half on my lunch break, and then watch the full replay again last night. So I've seen the thing twice. Absolutely. One of my favourite games. So, Willie, second half. You want to give us a general chat about that?
Aye, what a 45 minutes of football that was. It was just brilliant. Like 64% possession, 90% passing accuracy, 11 shots, 2 on target. Like in possession, out of possession, pressing, counter pressing. It was a really mature performance from the boys. Like at 2-1 down, Leipzig had to step out. And they allowed us a little bit of space to get in behind and expose them, and we did it. But we didn't just throw hopeful balls up front and see if somebody could get on the end of them. It was done in a very organised and structured way. Atati had a shot go wide about 60 minutes in. There was a couple of smart saves from Kasper Schmeichel to keep us sort of 2-1 out in front before Hatati got the third. But After the third, we really did. We just sort of took control of the game and showed them that we belong at this level and that we are a top side. But it was I think it was one of the most complete performances I've seen for half of football from Celtic. They took control. It was like when we play a Ross County or a Dundee United and we just pass the ball around and make them look so ordinary and just pick them off when we can. This is a top side. We've just gone and done that to, and for me, it was just it was mesmerising to watch. Like,
Dan, what was your thoughts on the second half?
Yeah, even just to bounce off what Willie said there was a couple of times when we left players looking very poor in possession, and it looked more like it was an Andy Halliday out there than a Kevin Campbell or a Musa. So it was very domestic in that sense, and even that I thought not that it changed the game or gave us an unfair advantage, but I thought it was nice at a European level to see refereeing that wasn't blowing the whistle when any player went in anywhere near each other. We've seen that in some European games where it's quite ridiculous how quickly the whistle comes out or the cards come out. I thought, there was a couple of times there, and I can't remember if it was CCV or Trusty, but one of them went right through one of the wingers, and it was pretty solid. And it probably was a foul, but it was like, all right, look, it's football, it's a contact sport. You got a bit of a tough one, get up and go. And it was just nice to see that, particularly in the second half, where you could see that the frustration was building. Leipzig really worked, particularly from the sort of 65th, 70th minute onwards. They looked like all they had were set pieces and corners at that point. So they were quite happy to absorb contact when they did have the ball, not that they had a lot. But yeah, I thought it was just a great performance, to round off all that work in the first half. And we've seen it so often that the Celtic side in Europe will do all the hard work, get themselves in a good position, concede a goal, throw themselves, back into a contest and come out worse off. So it was nice. I think it was 26 out of the last 27 games we've conceded first in Europe. We've gone on to lose. So it was just nice to see that there was a bit of resilience there, but there was also a bit of swagger. This is very much Brendan's team. It's Brendan's style of football, and it's left us into such a great position in the Champions League. And that's, we've spoken about it length. While domestic football is our bread and butter, we're well and truly looking beyond that, and we need to continuing to look beyond that and grow, especially if Huns version 3.0 wind up, if they go bankrupt again. I think it's just so important that we're improving and challenging in Europe, and we are. So full credit to, to borrow a real cliche, full credit to the boys on that one.
Yeah, I just want to touch on something in the comments here as well. So, Big Rab saying without Taylor pressing one of their players one of the goals, we wouldn't have won the game. And then we've also got McLaughlin saying, this is the one I wanted to touch on, is particularly in the second half, I noticed him more. Taylor's best European performance on Tuesday. What I liked about him in that role was like we had a back three at certain times, so it allowed Kilmarnock to go and release. So it's like anytime our centre-backs got the ball, they were either passing to Taylor or they're going to Kilmarnock, rather than trying to have another guy dropping deep like Hatade or Engels. It freed them up to be a bit more attacking and a bit more aggressive in the press. So I thought, Taylor, where he normally gets targeted in Europe, I'll give credit where it's due. I've absolutely slated him at certain points, particularly after the Dortmund game. So for him to bounce back the way he has there, I'll say, it was probably his best European performance for the club. At the same time, I think that was Hatade's best performance for the club in a Celtic jersey ever that I've seen. So, it was right up there for him. So, good fun. Jared, you want to talk about the second half?
I will start with the Taylor stuff, because we're on it. I think what really helped Taylor is that he had Trusty with him, who has speed and pace that let him get forward. And also, we got to actually play our game rather than normally in Champions League. We're on the back foot, where that's not really Taylor's game. He likes to get forward. He's more like, if you shove him back in the back corner, that's not really his game. And so, yeah, I think he done phenomenal. Maybe that's why they picked him. Maybe he knew that we're going to be able to press them and get up like that. Hatate, yes, I have been one of Hatate's up and like I think Hatate is phenomenal, but then I think he is also inconsistent. But just this game and last game, I think he's back to his best, and I'm really hoping that like he can now be consistent going forward. Because yeah, Hatate, if it wasn't for Kuhn scoring goals, Hatate could have been player of the match. He was phenomenal. And second half, like I touched on talking about the first half, it just felt like we were untouchable. Like I didn't have the butt puckering stuff that I did in the first half with corners. It seemed like we were getting someone on. Like even though they were getting the ball and they were getting head to the ball, it was always over by 10 yards. I didn't have that fear. Someone was on there. And then when you look at the last goal that we had, the ball came down the right hand side. It came to Kuhn. Kuhn went cut inside, and Johnson overlaps. No one goes with Johnson because Kuhn had just scared the absolute bejesus out of everyone, and Johnson had all the time to get that cross in. Ended up being like a mistake by the keeper that put it into Hatate's feet, but still, just that movement. We've got the option of going down the side, cutting in. They like it felt like they didn't know what to do with us in the second half. And I think I made a comment in our group chat. I think 15 minutes to go, or actually when we scored that third goal, they turned off. It like they were playing the ball in their backfield and passing the ball, and it just felt like they had 15 minutes. They could have scored, but it just felt like they were defeated. It felt like who was it? Campbell, who came out, said there was nothing we could do. Like every time we got the ball, they pressed us. When we got them, they were like they shut down everything and they made us run, and it felt like everyone ran a marathon. And you could see that in the last five. Like they just ran out of energy for a team that is run by Red Bull. They had nothing left by the end, and I think they were glad that the game was over.
They had no wings left at the end there, did they? But the thing as well, Jared, is it's like what I thought is we're talking about our press a lot, right? But the other part was when we did press them and they got out of it and they reversed the ball across their back line, our defensive transition worked really well in terms of, all right, let's still clog because they play narrow. It made it easy for us to recover. It's not like they were playing and getting it wide to the other wing. So by doing that, if they beat our press, we were able to have one man deep to cut out that ball. Then they've got to go across and we're able to rotate and cover in time. So we're able to number up, which bought more time for Taylor to go from in the middle back to left back, balance our defence, clear the lines, and off we go again. So not only did our press work, but off the back of that, the fallback from that into our defensive transition was amazing. And I think, yeah, this was just a great all-round result. And the little ticker at the bottom, just for you, Jared, because Dan's lost power and he's no longer here, I'm going to put a shut up Dan across the bottom here while he's not on the pod. You were going to say?
I have one more thing that I need to point out. Well, I don't need to, but I'd like to because it's in my head. Is Valet when he came on, like he had a bit of a rusty first couple of touches, corrected himself, like whatever. But there was a point in the game where the ball came back. We were under pressure. He had a person on him, and he just like headbutted the ball back to the goalkeeper. So the goalkeeper just pick it up, and I was like when if you remember Valley in the first couple of games that he had, there's no way that he's like under that he's that calm that he is under pressure. He just heads back to back so that the keeper can get the ball, collect it, and then we can go forward. So that actually stood out just as one little play just stood out as like such an improvement in mentality and everything just from Alex Valley.
Yep, and Willie, got to get you talking so you don't fall asleep over there in New Zealand. So you want to jump in on the back of that whole left back conversation there as well? Don't know what's going on here. Willie's got on mute for some reason. Try now.
Hello?
Yep, got ya.
Yeah.
There's it there. Nah, the left back, I mean, I thought their boy Nusa, who was meant to be playing out in that sort of in the half space there for them, was so ineffective. It allowed Taylor all the freedom of the park. I mean, Taylor was all over the pitch. Like, Taylor would step in and he would help Kilmarnock out, which would allow Engels to step on it a bit. And then if Kilmarnock roved up the pitch, Engels would step back and Taylor would step in. It really was a complete performance from the team. The way they shifted positions around and they rotated players, if one stepped out of position, there was always one to come in and cover them. It was a fantastic performance to watch. And it just shows you the sort of versatility we have with the squad now, because Taylor will come inside, and you see it, this 4-2-2-2, it was a narrow formation. It was ideal to have Taylor because of the way he steps in. It just the only player that was out there was Nusa, and as I say, he was ineffective. Like, so it was great to watch. And then when Valley came on, Valley's the sort of player that likes to go on the outside and hit the overlaps. So it really was great to watch, and it just shows you, like I say, it shows the versatility we have to the squad now. On the right, you've got Ralston, who can do either come. He doesn't like to come in, but he can do if he needs to. Johnson, he can come in if he needs to, but he prefers to go on the overlap. Like, and you've got Ralston, who's a reasonable enough right back. We do have that sort of wide areas. We have a lot of sort of versatility now. So yeah, it's good.
All right, so the second half goal from Hatade, it was coming. When the ball went in, it was coming. It was guaranteed. We're going to score another goal. You could just sense it. It was definitely going to happen. Wasn't expecting their keeper to bobble it the way he did. I thought he was decent overall most of the game until that happened, and yeah, Hatade Johnny on the spot to put it in and get the goal. So that just summed up was a nice little extra thing for the guy playing back-to-back 90 minutes, which he hasn't done in a long time for us. So yeah, I was pretty happy with the goal there. Willie, what did you think about that goal?
I thought it was a great team goal. It was a real back to front goal. The move started out in our own centre halves. They got the ball out to Hatate in the middle of the pitch. He got a flick onto AJ, who moved the ball out to Kuhn into the wide area. He overlapped Kuhn to get to the byline and flicked it over a cross in, which the keeper spills. And all of a sudden, there's Hatate, past a gap from his own half up there, flicking the spill. It was like I say, it was a really great goal. Like.
And Jared, do you got anything you want to add about the goal?
I think I spoke about this in my second half performance. I don't want to repeat myself.
Cool. Happy days. So usually we'd have a player focus, but we pretty much touched on all the players so far. So what I want to know was, Jared, was that the most complete performance you've seen from Celtic in the Champions League in the last decade? So basically since the Barcelona game 12 years ago.
Yes. And also, it didn't feel like we were playing against the second best team in the second best league in the world. Like that, like it was like you look at Openda and Sesko, both of those strikers would be starting on any team in Scotland, and they did nothing against our US defense force. Like just defensively, I don't think I've seen us this strong. Our midfield is phenomenal. Our attacking, like our press, and even through the game, you would just see people moving. And there was one point where Maida was over on the right-hand side, and then you had Kalmak over like left back. Like our movement and just our understanding of if someone goes here, this means you need to go there. Like we are just so well managed right now. And the best thing, this is what I was going to say in my original second half thing. I think the best thing that has happened to us is getting destroyed by Dortmund. It just feels like it was a kick up the ass. We're going to lose it anyway. So 3 points, 3 points. Who gives a crap? But just from that, it just feels like we were like, okay, we need to put something in our toolbox that if we need this, we can do it. Then we came out against Aberdeen, 6-0 instead of 2-0. then we've come out here and we've just absolutely we don't look like a Scottish team right now, and it's phenomenal.
We look like a very mature European football team. That's the way I look at it. Like Dortmund was the wake up call, and the guys, you can't get away with the same mistakes you're making in Scotland, and that was the sort of result that we needed to have for guys to grow up basically in that and lose the naivety about how they go about it. And then the result down in Italy against Atalanta showed that, okay, we do have that bit of steel about us that we can play the tough game. And then to come in and do this, it's showing that, okay, we are learning our lessons, the guys are developing and they're feeling comfortable. And, okay, we conceded the first goal, but we fought back. So we're looking like a quality European team. We're not looking like the Scottish champions who are lucky to be there. We're looking like a team that could actually do something in Europe, and we'll touch on that in about 5 minutes time, I reckon. But yeah, I just want to know, boys, who was your man of the match? And then I want to go through some comments before we roll into the next topic. So, Jared.
All right. I don't think anyone's going to disagree. Kuhn, man of the match. And you said I could have as much time to talk about Kuhn as possible. I think we've talked enough about what he done in the game. I just want to address the rumours about him leaving. It's a load of crap. When you hear about it, it's not journalists that are talking about it. It's columnists that just want clickbait. He's not leaving in this window because Kuhn brings more money into the club being here and doing what he just done on the weekend in Champions League than he could if we sold him. And he would want to be here. Kuhn, man of the match, this game, I would have almost gave it to him last game until Maida scored the hat-trick. But what is that, 19 goal contributions in all competitions so far? He is our attack right now. We've lost what Matt O'Reilly brought us. Kyogo is kind of hot and cold at the moment, and Ida is not where he was last season. Everything is going through Kuhn right now, and I just hope he just keeps getting better. But he's not going anywhere in this window. I can guarantee you that.
Willie is your man of the match. And if it's Kuhn, give us the top three.
All I've got to say is Rio Hatate. That is a 10 out of 10 performance for me. That is one of the most complete performances I've seen from a Celtic player in a European game yet. His quick feet for the second goal got him through out of that press, and he found himself in acres of space to get the ball over for the second goal. The third goal, the way he moved from his own half and Bastagat to get up there to score when the keeper spilled the ball was just brilliant to watch. For me, the way he buzzed around that pitch the whole night, the RB guys just didn't know what to do with him. They didn't know where he was going to pop up next. So for me, 10 out of 10 Rio. I want to see more of that out of him. Like.
I basically said on the pod I was on this morning, on the Leipzig one, that doesn't matter who you say are your top three, the man of the match, it's going to be Kuhn, it's going to be Rio. And then if you said it was CCV, I'd be like, fair enough. If you said it was Engels, if you said it was Kyogo, if you said it was Maida, Trusty, whatever, I'd be like, yeah, I can understand that. So I think the MVP overall is the Celtic Football Club in general, but it was definitely man of the match would have been Kuhn or Maida. It's like 1A and 1B. I can't split them. So I'll get some comments through and then we'll roll upon. So Double Denim, thanks for joining us. Morning, evening, guys. Hope everyone's well. Need to be careful of the risk of unbalancing the team if we make too many changes this weekend, but we finally have decent strength in depth. We sure do, mate. I think it's going to be good. Should be fine on the weekend. I'm just going to adjust something quickly. Hopefully that doesn't ruin it. I'll figure out this new system we're working on here. But anyway, we'll get back to it. So Maestro said AJ's getting further. McLaughlin saying AJ's turning into Danny McGrain. That press leading up to the second goal was outstanding. What do we got? Keep scrolling through here. The fullbacks come inside and out. These we were talking about before. Let's just jump right ahead here. Barcelona will keep Valle. That's something we wanted to talk about. Is that there's rumours that they've got injuries and they want to recall him in January. What are your thoughts there, Jared?
Yeah, no. Like, he's got a 3.5 million release clause. We should be triggering that in the first 1 second of the next window, because right now it doesn't seem like we might be keeping Taylor, but even if we were, I think Valley, long term, Valley, like that back four with Valley in it is probably the best. And for like 3.3 or 3.5, like, get it done.
Yeah, it gives us some really good balance. So the talk is that, yeah, we're not going to be renewing Taylor's contract. I've said it before. I think he's at a point where he wants to go get that big payday. He's got a kid on the way. So he'll move down and probably play a second division or a low Premier League team in England, triple his wages and, Scrooge McDuck, go for a swim in all his cash basically when he gets home. But, yeah, I think the lineup we've got at the moment with Valley and Johnson on the wings has given us that balance where they can go inside, outside. It's great. So McLaughlin was saying about the game, I haven't seen us tear a team apart like that since the O'Neill days. What do we got here? Keep scrolling through. Smell the glove. Brendan getting his European tactics right 2 games in a row. Craigie White was in Brendan we trust. McLaughlin saying that Brendan's maturing as a manager as well. Maybe he's at that peak age. So we've got Maestro's asking a question here. It's what do you think of us buying a physical presence in midfield in January? There was a guy in the crowd watching the game who played that role for us last time. We're doing well in the Champions League and Victor Wanyama. Do you think we need that type in the midfield to go further, Willie?
Possibly, but over the last few games, the Dortmund game aside, no. We held our own against Atalanta. We've taken apart the second best team in Germany with McGregor sitting in the quarterback role. So, and we quickly saw we comfortably saw off Slovan Bratislava. So at this moment in time, probably no. For me, the positions that we might need to look at in January is strengthening the wide areas.
Yeah, for me, I just think another someone who can either play striker or another winger. That's the key for me in January. I think our backline's settled. If we can keep Valle, our backline's settled. Goalkeeper position's covered. Middle of the park, I'm happy with. It's up front that I think we just need another. There you go. Heavy vibes is agreeing with me there. We need need a winger and a striker. So, yeah, I think we're fine. Jared, what are your thoughts?
To me, it's not about do we bring someone in. It's then, if we bring that person in, who do you leave out? Because currently we have 5 starters for 3 positions. So if you bring another person in, it's like, okay, well, who are we taking out for that? I guess Brendan will have to play by whatever team we're playing, but it just seems like it's not a huge need. And I agree. Like, for me, I think the biggest need for us is another winger, someone that could possibly play both ways. Not both ways, but left or right. But if we just get one winger who is going to actually make a difference in this next window and sign Valley, I'll be a very, very happy little boy.
Okay, Jared. So you made a good point there. So I'm going to jump on this. If we bring in another winger, we need to get rid of Palmer first. So Palmer out, someone better in who can play this system. That's what I want to say. I don't want to put more numbers in the squad. I want to get better quality. So that's what we do there. We're already a striker short. Let's be honest. We never got that third striker that we wanted in summer, but Maeda's doing well in that role. So if we're going to bring him in to be the third striker, that's where that winger needs to come in and replace Palmer in the rotation, and we're all set. So that's the position for me. Get us another winger, which will free up Maeda to be that backup striker, and I'm happy with that. So it's one player we need. That's it.
That
Willie
I
looks
didn't
like
want to say. I didn't want to hate the I didn't want to piss off the Maeda people, but that's exactly what I was thinking.
Willie's got this confused look on his face, like he's just farted and he's not sure if it's a lump or a bubble in his ass.
It was one of the comments. I'm not sure where it came from.
What one?
Robert Gibson. I don't know if I pushed that. Is that there? Yeah. It just came in and I just like, what's he on about?
Palmer is my whipping boy, that one? Or the other
No,
one?
something
Strapline?
about a love strap.
Yeah, that's when I do this, right? So when I click on that, we've got the new thing where it brings his name up first and does all that. That's what he's commenting on, Willie. But anyway,
it just threw me. I was just like, what's he talking about? Like,
you look confused, like. But anyway,
I was just like, what? A chick and knickers? And I'm like, what's going on here? This is a Celtic podcast, isn't it?
So start putting some random quotes for us in the comments, and I'll grab one to put into next Thursday's ticker at the bottom. Like we normally have Palmer is a wanker quoted by Robert Gibson. So let's get some stuff in there as well. But next thing I want to talk about is the Champions League, the lay of the land. I've got a simple question for you here, Jared. What do you think the lay of the land looks like for us for the rest of the Champions League? So currently we're on 7 points after 4 games. 10 points should guarantee us a spot from 9th through to 24th. So guaranteed the knockout rounds, the round of 16. Do you think our upcoming matches against Club Brugge, Dinamo Zagreb and Young Boys and Aston Villa are winnable? So
Yes.
I've got my opinion, which I can flow onto because you said yes. Good. So for me, I think I think that the next 3 games are definitely winnable, especially if we play like we have the last 2 games. So that's Club Brugge, Dinamo Zagreb, and Young Boys. If we play the way we played the last few and keep Paradise being this fortress, we can bank 9 points from those 3, which puts us up to 16 points. And all those stat numbers that they gave us pre-season, it was like, if you finish on 10 points, you have a 99% chance of finishing in the top 9 through to 24th. If you have 15 points or above, you are 98% chance of finishing top 8. Well, if we get those three points in each of those 3 games, pushes it to 16. Willie, should we be looking at the end goal to try and push on, win those games and get into that top 8?
Absolutely. Listen, we have got 7 points on the board, which is 3 points more than I thought not even thought. There's 3 points more than I would hope we would get at this stage. I don't think we would take any of them, not 3 games there. Atalanta, Dortmund, and Leipzig. I thought like 3 points against Bratislava. We weather the storm and then get into these next fixed pocket of games where we can pick up our points. I mean, we're coming up against Club Brugge. Club Brugge spend more money than we do. They have a more valuable squad. It's going to be a difficult team to play at home, but they're a team that's in our peer group, and it's somebody that we should be aspiring to beat. You know what I mean? They've had a great result against Aston Villa there last night, but I'm hoping we can turn Celtic Park into this fortress again and take the 3 points there. And then you put Dinamo Zagreb away after that. That is like when the draw came out, that you need points away from home. If we were going to make the playoff rounds, we would need to take points away from home somewhere. And that is the one you would have circled to say, right, we need to take something from this game. And that doesn't change. If we want to get into the top 8, you need to take 3 points from that. So, again, I've heard a few people say they've watched the Dynamo Zagreb game before the Celtic game because it was obviously the earlier kickoff. And a lot of them are saying that there's nothing for us to fear there. So, it is a game that if we can show the sort of the style and the fortitude, if we can show the way show up the way we did in Atalanta, then we can. I think we can go and take something off as Zagreb, and then the Young Boys at home. 4 defeats from 4. They're sitting on 0 points right now. They've got Cedric Eaton playing up front for them, which says a lot for them, and they're struggling domestically too. So it's another game we should be looking to take 3 points from. You know what I mean? And I think that's a one we will probably take 3 points comfortably in. But for me, the Zagreb game, if we can get 3 points away in Zagreb, then there's no reason why we can't say, right, this top 8 is definitely on for us.
Yeah, the way I look at it is our last 2 home games, we pick up the 6 points there. That brings us up to 13. And then that Zagreb game that you're talking about, I've had a look at them. The thing with Zagreb, it's not on the pitch should I have any fear. It's, are our players going to be well rested the night before? They're going to have like flares and fireworks and stuff lit off at the hotel all night before the game, because that's pretty much where the difference will be. That's what their fans are good at, making it difficult for you to get your rest, be ready to go, and all that sort of stuff. But it's still a winnable game as well. Big Rab saying 12 points is the minimum. I said this at the start. We should be on over 16 points by the Villa game. Smell the Glove saying, think we beat Bruges, lose to Zagreb, beat Young Boys, draw at Villa, that's 14 points. Maestro saying Fortress Paradise. So, yeah, and Strange Love the Doctor is saying, let's just do the Celtic thing and try and win each and every game we play against, one game at a time, regardless of who they are and what competition we play in. So, yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. Jared, what do you got to add?
Well, all the games that we've played so far, pre-season, this is the points that I picked. I didn't think we were going to get destroyed, but this is what I had picked so far. And also, Club Bruges just beat Villa 1-0. So I think the Celtic thing to do would just to come out and beat the second team in Germany and then lose to a team that we're meant to beat. So for me, I was like, I want to get very excited and be like, yes, we're going to win the next 3, and then we're going to draw against Villa, and then we're going to have enough points, and we're going to do this and this and this. But I also looked at how many points the people in the top 8 are on, and I think we're going to rely on those teams losing to be able to get there. So realistically, I think instead of us, I think before here we were all wanting like, yeah, we could squeeze into the 24 and maybe get 20 to 24. Now I'm kind of at the point where I'm like, okay, we can probably get the top half of that. The top 8 is, yeah, it doesn't matter what we do from here. Like, we just need to play our games, but the teams in the top 8, we're relying on them losing, and they're the teams that are kind of on form. So if we just I was happy being in the 24. Now I'm kind of like, we need to be in the top half of the 24 and get another home game. And I think it is very doable, but we need to not get ahead of ourselves. Well, actually, we're fans. Let's get ahead of ourselves. Who cares? But the team needs to not get ahead of themselves and just get out in the next game and do exactly what we just did against Red Bull. Play our game. When they come at us, change, make our adjustments like we have, and just play that like really like perfect game, do what we do. And I trust Brendan Rodgers.
Fair enough. RL77 is saying top 8, that's a lot of heated driveways, let's go for it. So, yeah, I'm just looking at it going, why not? Let's have a crack at it. What do we have to lose, really? Like, if we finish 9th through to 15th or something like that, you get a home final in that. Well, not a final, you get the second leg at home or whatever it is. Because it's home and away for the knockout. So if you finish 10th, it comes in handy. It's no big deal. But if we can push into the top 8, why not go for it? That would be absolutely brilliant. So I think we'll leave the Champions League talk there. And Willie, we've got Kilmarnock on the plastic at Rugby Park on Sunday. The Monday 2 a.m. kickoff for me, 1 a.m. for you, Jared, and 4 a.m. for you, Willie. So it's going to be a tough one. What are your general thoughts heading into that game?
I'm expecting to see a few changes rung in for the match on the Lego. I don't think we'll see CCV in the game. I'd imagine Engels, Kyogo, and Maeda will be rested with Bernardo, Ida, and maybe Young coming in. Young didn't do too badly when he came on the other night, so he might get a wee run out. But Kelly's form's pretty pish. But they have been known to raise their game against us in Ayrshire, so. But yeah, I think we'll win the game quite comfortably. Actually, I think it'll be a 3-0 win.
Look at him, he's gone his score prediction already, Jared.
Sorry,
So-
mate, jumped the gun there a wee bit.
Oh, good. Well, he's getting tired, everyone. So, for me, my general thoughts will be, there'll be some rotation. Who it'll be? Yeah, I think there'll be rotation because we'll be a little leggy after the game. So, yeah, Jared, what are your thoughts, general thoughts heading in? What changes would you make to the squad if you were the manager?
I think we're now allowed to bring CCV back out. I think we need to protect him like we can. We've got Scales. This is perfect. We can bring Scales back in. We don't have backups. We've just got second starting teams at the moment. Valley can come back in. Our midfield. Who cares? Like, we've got starting backups put in. I would love to see McCowan back in the starting lineup as well. But even like their team, like the biggest threat to me whenever we play them is Danny Armstrong. And I just watched the interview with Derek McInnes, and Danny Armstrong done his hamstring and isn't even playing in this game. So I don't think it matters. Like we have got such a strong bench at the moment. As long as we're not changing everyone, like I'm pretty comfortable. I'm not going to give a score. I don't even really care. I think we're going to win. That's all that matters.
So for me, this is one of those games where I look at it and go, as you said, Jared, make a few changes, not everyone, but I'd be looking at going CCV definitely gets rested, as you said. Trusty and Scales rotate the next. So we've got 3 starting centre backs for 2 spots. We've got 5 starting midfielders for 3 spots to do some rotation there. This will be a game. Bernardo will come in. I'd probably give Hatade the game off. He's played back-to-back 90 minutes. So I'd be looking at doing that. I'd be resting Kuhn because he come off. He's had a bit of a hit and miss here, and he had ice on his hamstring when he came off. So why risk him on the plastic? It's a game where you could put Jamesy Forrest out there, get some minutes into his legs and Yang's legs. So plenty of options there. As long as Palmer's not in the starting lineup, I'll be wrapped. And it'll be an interesting one. So, what's your expected starting lineup, Willie? And you said 3-0 as your score prediction. So, starting lineup, and then we'll rotate through and finish it off with our final thoughts.
Yeah. Starting lineup: Schmeichel, Johnson, Scales, Trusty, Valle, Kalma, Bernardo, Hatati or McCowan. He might. Hatati was so good, he'd probably play him again. Yang, Kuhn, and Ida.
Jared, what's your starting lineup?
Just for something different, I wouldn't mind seeing Sasalo in goals.
Sinisalo.
Yeah. So I don't think it's going to happen, but why not? Let's at least give him a shout out. Sinisalo. Then I'm going to go with AJ, Trusty, and Scales. Valle in the defense. Then I'm going to go in midfield. McCowan, Bernardo, and McGregor, but he'll come off. And then up front, Ida, Palmer, and Forrest.
You bastard, put in Palmer in. So, for me, I'd be looking at, keep Schmeichel in goals. Johnson, you have Trusty and Scales, and then I'd be looking at probably keep Taylor in. Did well in the middle of the week. Then, middle of the park, Bernardo, Calmac, I'd be playing him for the simple fact that there's an international break after this game. He's no longer playing international, so he can get his rest then. So have Calmac in there with Bernardo and with Engels. And then up front, I would have Kyogo, I would have Forrest and Maeda. And then I'd be looking at either do that, or if we wanted to get really creative, go with 3-5-2. And if you wanted to play wing backs, you could get Johnson and you could have Valle in there and muck around a bit, play with 2 strikers up the front. But I'm just saying that to be silly. So score prediction, we're going to pump them 5-1. They'll get their soft penalty or some weird deflected goal. But yeah, we'll get the business 3 points up the road, and then we go into the international break yet again, and then it's time to get a week off on the pod. So yeah, realistically, we'll have, just for everyone before we go to our final thoughts, next Monday there will be the pot noodle and the weekend review. And then the first podcast after that will be the Thursday Sesh leading into our first game back. So, yeah, it's going to be a little bit quiet on the channel, but, yeah, we appreciate each and every one of you and your support for the podcast. So, if you're watching on YouTube, go to our profile, hit the notification bell. So, whenever we upload, there's going to be a video, you'll get notified and you'll be ready to watch us when we're back. So, thanks everyone for tuning in. We'll go to our final thoughts, and I think I know what your final thought is, Jared, so I'll say it. Thanks to whoever did that blackout for Dan's whole street, so you didn't have to do a podcast with him.
Who's Dan?
Yeah, no, shut up, Dan. Where'd he go? Yeah, so let's go. Final thoughts. I'll claim that as my final thought then. Willie?
Final thought. Australian TV, get Mr. In Between Season 4 in production.
And Jared, final thought?
Right. Well, since he's gone in Mr. Between, there's a really good new TV show that I've just found and started watching called The Sopranos. Not sure if anyone's ever heard of it. I only started watching it last week. It's very good.
Talking about that quickly then, I'll grab a final thought. TV show I've just started watching for the first time ever. It's called Lost.
Oh,
There we
no. Don't watch the last one.
Fair enough. All right, thanks everyone for tuning in. Hail, hail.
See you next week.